all ages. It is your favorite time of the week before your favorite pay-per-view of the year. Welcome to Wrestling Chat with Friends.
Meow, meow, meow,
Meow, meow.
And we are here to preview All Out because there's an amazing pay-per-view going on this evening. And as you can see, I am repping for Absolute Ricky Stonks. So let's jump right in, guys. I know you guys already had an amazing episode this week with
Come on.
Hold on,
Shoot
no, I
Taylor.
have it.
Shoot Taylor.
He was amazing too, by the way. Great
He was
get.
really great.
Yeah, he was.
It was fantastic.
And last week we had an amazing appearance by RJ City. So things are just going great around here, and we are excited to just chat with you guys, jump on real quick, and let's preview this card. So first and foremost, we have got 0 Hour, which is the buy-in for All Out. For that, we are going to have Pac versus Kip Sabian for the AEW All-Atlantic Championship. You guys, let's just start going ahead and making our calls on these. Who do you have for that? What are you most excited to see in that match? Let's go.
Go ahead, Cheats.
I like Pac to win. I like Kip Sabian as an athlete. Haven't seen him wrestle in a long time because he's been out with the injury. I believe it's an injury, and that's why he was doing the box over his head type thing. But I like the storyline. I like introducing him. I like him for this title. I just think it's really new, man. And I think Pac is an amazing, amazing representative of AEW. I think he's an amazing athlete. I think he's one of the kind of day one guys that has really done just a good job carrying it. So now that he's got this new title, I hope he gets a little bit of a run with some legitimate title defenses. I think this will be a good one. So I'm calling Pac to win the match. Hopefully, it'll be a good match for the audience. Anytime Pac's involved, I think it's going to be the Bastard Pack. Excuse me. I think it'll be a good match.
Absolutely. Bastard always puts on a good show. Elliot, what are you thinking for the results of this one?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Cheats. The Bastard Pack. A little too soon to do a title change with this fairly new belt. This might be Pac's only second defense on a pay-per-view, maybe even first. Kip
defended on Dark a few times.
Yeah, Kip really needs to be reintroduced to the audience for a little bit longer. Maybe let that feud or the next feud develop a little bit, but I got Pac going over.
Absolutely. I'm with you guys on Pac. I think Kip Sabian did an amazing job keeping himself relevant during his injury. I think that was the most interesting and kind of forward-thinking way to stay a part of the program, stay a part of the conversation, underrated, over it. But like you guys, I hope they keep the belt on Pac a little longer. And I would love actually to see, because they've been feuding some over in the UK leagues, I'd love to see this Sabian Pac thing play out a little bit more. But if there's other people he needs to be on to, I understand as well. But yeah, we're definitely going with Pac on that one. So then we have a rematch of a match that we got to see at Capital Collision, New Japan. We have Ishii versus the King, Eddie Kingston. Who do you guys have for that one?
Well, as the resident Eddie Kingston mark on the show, I'm going to go with Eddie. I think his suspension, anything he did to get in trouble, is now over and done with. This is sort of a bookend to his matches with Ishii. I think it probably ends whatever feud they have had. I want Kingston to go over. I think he needs to get a little more of a jump back into AEW storylines, and no better way than to give him a win over this really angry, really talented Japanese bruiser. So yeah, I want my boy the Mad King to go over. That's my call.
I don't have a super hard opinion, but I do think Ishii went over him at Capital Collision. So if we're doing like a rubber match down the road, I think we'll definitely see Eddie go over here. Chief, I believe is your toy your call?
My toy is my card, and you said exactly why, Megan. I think Ishii went over in the New Japan promotion in DC. I think Eddie Kingston goes over in the AEW promotion in Chicago. And I think it's a little bit of what you said. There's no future here. There's no long-term storyline planning. They put this match on. Eddie's going to get a huge pop, as he always does. He'll put on a match, and he'll go over. And then we'll be on to next things. So
All right. Well, speaking of on to the next one, our new and defending FTW champion Hook goes up tonight against Angelo Parker because he wants the taste.
He wants
Who
the
do you
taste.
think
He
goes
wants the
over in this
taste.
match? Are we expecting any fun run-ins? What are our thoughts? Somebody said that Action Bronson tweeted a picture of a ring post. So do we get a live Action Bronson play-in for Hook? That's going to be my fun
Oh, I'd love that.
random call, right? Like that's going to be my play in the spread is that Action Bronson plays him out.
No, I love that. That'd be
And then
great.
of course, Hook retains. So, Cheats, thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun though because I'm with you guys and slowly really enjoying Angela Parker and Matt Menard. I just enjoy them now. Like I used to not like them and I didn't understand them and didn't get them. Didn't know where they came from. Didn't know their backgrounds. I still don't know where they came from or their backgrounds, but they're really funny.
They're
Um,
different.
and I love the promo. The he wants a taste. I love
Taste of
the
the title. A taste of the title.
and I think there'll be some 2.0 shenanigans that'll make it interesting for a little bit. Hook retains. I'd love to see the Action Bronson live play in. I think that'd be awesome. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I think it's funny. But I like Angela Parker and Matt Menard. I think they're just hilarious. So look, if Eddie Kingston can be a star in AEW, Matt Menard and Angela Parker can be studs in like they can be stars in AEW. I think they're equally as funny.
Hard agree. Elliot?
Yeah. If we don't get an Action Bronson play-in tonight, I would expect him ringside and possibly getting involved a la Tyson Fury did last night very briefly. I could definitely see that. As far as Menard and Parker go, as someone who's got most of his family up in New York, I've seen that shtick before. They do it okay. It's a little Andrew Dice Clayish, which all right, it's fine. It's funny. It's entertaining. They definitely have the expressions to make the most of that gimmick they're doing. But Hook is going to continue his role. I'd like to see Hook get something a little more serious with either a new challenger or maybe inserting himself into something deeper as we go forward. But yeah, this is going to probably meant to feature Parker, but was a Handsome Devil is going to go over tonight.
Yeah, agreed. Handsome Devil's definitely going over, but I still want to taste. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's move on to the actual show. We've got a very, very stacked card. Lots of ideas about potential run-ins, about potential comebacks. So let's just jump right into this thing. First and foremost, we have House of Black going up against Darby Allin, Sting, and Miro. Any good predictions for this? I have one wild card for this one, but let's go with predictions first. Elliot, what is your prediction for who's going over?
I definitely don't have a preference. You could certainly make an argument for both. I think House of Black needs a win here since they got surprisingly eliminated from the trios title. So this is a match that's kind of built for the good guys to go over at the end, but I'd like to see House of Black make it a little dark, make it the future a little scary for the rest of the roster by defeating three really impressive challengers. I don't think Miro will be involved in the final decision. I think they need to get him rolling, but as it is, I'm going to say House of Black's going to go over. And I hope one of you disagree with me because so far the three of us have been chalk through the first few matches.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can predict Megan's wild prediction, right? Is that Miro joins House of Black?
No, actually. So my wild prediction is that House of Black is not a 3-member faction. It's a 4-member faction.
It's already a 4-member.
It already is a 4-member. Don't forget Julia.
No. I'm not. So House of Black has 4 if you add Julia.
Yeah, they're 4.
Miro, Sting, and Darby are just 3 guys, unless you add Lana.
Right, so you bring in his...
Lana had some spicy back and forth with Julia the other day about keep your hands off my husband. I think if we have any Julia interference, you should expect a Lana run-in so that she lets it be known that ain't nobody coming for the Redeemer but her. And with that, I think the Redeemer and Sting and Darby will be going over.
I like it.
Where you at with the cheat?
No, I like it. I like the Lana. If Lana's gonna show up, this is a great time for her to show up. This is a great time for her to get in a feud. and that keeps Miro on the other side of House of Black, which naturally we're thinking
Mhm.
somehow they figure this thing out and bring everybody in the fold. However, I like where you're going with this, and if that is the case, I will agree with Megan that Sting, Darby, Miro go over.
They
Maybe
have to.
sparks a new thing between maybe Julia and Lana. I like that. I like that. That's a good prediction.
Yeah. Okay, so then next, I think we all know who I'm going to go with, but we have my favorite star on the rise, Mr. Absolute Ricky Starks, going head to head in a grudge match with Powerhouse. I don't know how they. I'm really on the fence about this one because I think like Hobbs deserves it. Hobbs deserves that shine. But I really feel like Ricky's been doing this whole like I'm the underdog. It's okay to lose. You get back up kind of thing. I don't know how much longer they can do that and continue to have the insane just rocket star push that Ricky Starks has been having lately. So I'm gonna go with my boy Ricky Starks for this one. Cheats, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you again. I wish we disagreed more, but I can't. They are making, not only are they making Ricky Starks a real face of AEW, but it's actually really spreading. If I do think Tony Khan and those guys pay a lot more attention to the internet than they probably should, but
Mhm.
Ricky Starks has taken off with all the power players on the internet are really liking what they're doing with Ricky.
Yeah.
Um, I think Ricky is going to have the crowd in his hands, right? And I think
Hmm.
he has to go over if he's going to get in the title hunt of any title. He's got to go over and start moving up to the next pillar. So
Yeah.
I think we dropped the FTW title for him to be elevated. I think this is a step that hopefully elevates them both. But Starks has to go over. I can't see Starks losing.
Agreed.
Well, I'm turning out to be the contrarian in the group here, but for not exactly full on. I'm going to take a little bit from what both of you said. That the crowd will definitely be behind Starks, but I think Megan, to your point, Hobbs is as deserving of an elevation as Starks is. This feud kind of is new, and Hobbs just recently turned on Ricky,
Hmm.
and it's probably this isn't what AEW usually does, but I would hate to see these two guys who were friends for so long, a tag team, turn on each other, have one blow off match, and then both move to respective things. So I'm going
Yeah.
to say tonight's going to be a no contest,
Ooh.
maybe a double count out. They're going to end up
Mhm.
kind of brawling, and there won't be a finish. And let this play out just a little longer. It doesn't have to run all fall or even all winter, but I think they can have a few more goes at this. This feels like a match that may end up getting settled on a Dynamite main event before they maybe get into something else. So I'm going for a no contest on this tonight.
I'm okay with that. I think the
Helps them
goal
both.
is to come out of this with Hobbs and Starks both looking really strong. And I do think that there needs to be some more of that cat and mouse for this feud to really, pay off for breaking up such an amazing team. So I'm good with the no contest or the DQ finish. I still am gonna probably put smart money on Starks though. All right, let's keep it moving because we need to be out of here by 6:30 so everybody can get ready for that 7 o'clock showtime. So for the pre-show. So next we have Wardlow, FTR versus Jay Lethal and Motor City Machine Guns. I don't even know them. I'm sure they're great, but FTR and Wardlow are going over. That is a massive group of baby faces right now. You can't. I mean, Lethal is a jerk. He's going to be a jerk. He can be a jerk for this match and eat the pin and be fine. Do I think there'll probably be some Satnam Singh interference? Yes. Do I think Sanjay Dutt is going to do something completely heely? Absolutely. I think that's the only way they go over is if they are just on some serious cheap lion steal level to justify them going over the baby faces. That's what they did with the match with Jay Lethal and Dax. So either some real high level shenanigans or our boys go over clean. Elliot, what are your thoughts on this one? Are you agreeing or are you disagreeing with the FTR Wardlow win?
Full agree. That's who needs to go over. To your point, there will be plenty of attempted interference, which will all get rebuffed by one or all members of that team.
Mhm.
I'm still sort of thinking about the very emotional promo that Dax cut in the ring the other night, where he got a little he got a little choked up, and that really resonated with me. I can tell A, how much he loves the sport, and B, to your point, Megan, earlier, he was responding directly to internet trolls, so who have been questioning the reasoning for putting these guys together when they all are holding belts and they're not putting any of them on the line in such a big show. Dax shut that shit down and told everyone what was what, while at the same time showing just a ton of emotion, which I respect in anyone who is performing, what they want to do. So yeah, these guys are as over as they can possibly be. I want them to all get into other things, but much like it was awesome seeing Punk get with those guys a few months ago, it'll be great seeing Wardlow and those guys just rip Motor City Machine Guns apart, who will come out looking strong. But I mean, they could have. There are other teams they could have had, but it's a nice surprise for them to show up, but they'll be quickly dispatched.
Yeah. No, I think Megan. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Motor City Machine Guns are, they're Ring of Honor staples. They're all over the place, and I think they
Impact legends.
They're coming
too.
from Impact now. I think they're in Impact now, right?
They had previously been in Impact 10 years ago too.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're definitely. My question is, what are we doing here? Why is this happening? And why is it happening in this way? Yeah, and it's one of those matches. Right, it's just these people needed matches. It's gonna make the night longer. They haven't figured out exactly what to do next, right? And it's this is where I'll zag and I'll go Jay Lethal, Saddam Singh, Sanjay Dutt, Motor City. They need to continue to make Ring of Honor a thing if it's gonna be a thing. And in order for Ring of Honor and kind of what they're doing with this other side of the coin to be a thing, they need to get some type of storyline or wins or something. This probably isn't the place for that. Everything you guys have already said is probably 100% right. But I'm going to zag because, one, I love Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt. Two, they freaking need a win. They haven't had a win in forever. And they just continue to bury a really talented stable that I think is supposed to be one of the lead stables on Ring of Honor. So they've got to give them something. I don't know how they do it because Warlow's a beast and FTR is the best tag team in the damn world right now. So I don't know how you go over on them without some type of crazy shenanigans, but I'm going to call crazy shenanigans, maybe some Ring of Honor help. I don't know. And let's just go the other way. I don't have a good reason.
With crazy shenanigans. So bring it on. I think the perfect people for that are the Saddam Singhs and the Jay Lethals. They have proven that they're steez, so I'm with it. On to a match that I think will be less shenanigans, maybe more shenanigans. There may be a big dinosaur run-in for either one of them to really cause a ruckus. You have this big blow-off match for Jungle Boy and Christian. Where is smart money on this match? Does Jungle Boy retain his honor and be Jungle Man? Does Christian Cage continue to work everyone? Or are we going to have some kind of Luchasaurus run-in? Maybe he headbutted that guy. He headbutted the people in the back. And I think that may have been a sign Luchasaurus was not all the way back to his good self. And as you know, he was still wearing the black. So I could see him coming out and costing this match for Jungle Boy and really finally showing his allegiance to Christian. I think other than that, maybe we have a Jack Perry run and he becomes Jack Perry. I don't know. What are y'all's thoughts on this one?
I am thinking similar to the way you're thinking, Megan. I think I think Jungle Boy should get over because he has the longer and deeper future than Christian does. I think even perhaps Luchasaurus may even help Jungle Boy with the victory, and in the post-match celebration, turn on him, flatten him, not necessarily align himself back with Christian, but maybe just break out himself. So Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus can maybe feud next, which I think is more likely than Christian running this longer and showing up more regularly. Not that I'm saying I want Christian to transition out of any sort of full-time status, but it just makes a little bit more logical sense to have Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus be a feature going forward. But yeah, so I'm going to say that Luchasaurus appears to be aligned with Jungle Boy through the match, but then turns on him afterwards.
Okay,
Yeah,
I like that.
And now we're getting to the point of the show where I do like this is why it's going to be so long. right? Like this is why this pay-per-view is going to be so long. So we've literally talked about at least that if we go back, what Starks and Hobbs, what was the one before this? The
House of Black. House of Black.
They're one. And this is just like an overall objection because we still got to keep going. There are amazing real storylines, that we can build. I'm dead. Like that makes amazing matches and continues like some really good stuff. And we have like several matches that I think are matches that will be, hey, nice matches, but they're going to be one-offs with like not a lot of future there. This one here has had a longer build-up to what is supposed to be, you know, this kind of really personal blood feud between Kristen and Jungle Boy. However, I'm ready for it to end. Like, I'm ready for it to move on and figure out, like,
what's next?
What's Jungle Boy's real future going to be in the company? Maybe what's Christian's real future going to be? I don't think this could be from injury. This could be from whatever reason. Since they gave Christian like the Impact title with the win over Omega, that was on I believe it was on a Rampage. Like they haven't really used Christian in a way that makes me feel like you've got one of the best worker / performers like in the sport. Like he's top echelon guy. And so I don't know if that's by choice. I don't know if he doesn't want to work and wrestle. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what his schedule is. He doesn't seem to be a guy that when we look at, say, Mox's schedule, who's an animal, but Mox is on every indie promotion and those types of things. Christian doesn't seem like that guy. I don't know if it's by choice or whatever. However, I'm ready for this to move on. For it to move on, Jungle Boy has to win. I don't think here's the rub. I don't think it will move on. I think we're going to be stuck here for a little while longer.
You think this is going further, huh?
I think this is going further. I think Christian does something that keeps this thing going. He probably gets the win tonight. I don't exactly know where Luchasaurus fits in, but he will. And it doesn't end tonight. It's going to be kind of a dead-end storyline that goes nowhere as we move in the future, but they're going to keep playing it out. So I zag, and I say Christian Cage figures out a way to win this one, and we just keep it going for a little while longer.
Okay, don't pull me down. I'm still here. I started freezing on my video, and I want to stay with you guys, so I'm just going to do audio from here on out. Is that okay, Cheats?
I mean, we have no choice.
Okay, well, it was starting to freeze really bad, and I don't want to lose you guys.
You weren't, for what it's worth, you were not freezing on. I'm watching the feed. So okay, you're not freezing on the feed.
It was clipping when you were talking, and I was worried about it. And I know I got kicked out last time I was on. I want to get kicked out again. Let's keep going.
Let's try it with video though. Okay. You're not clipping for us.
Okay, so
yeah, you're fine.
So, next up we have Jade Cargill.
Hold on, Megan. What was your call for that match?
I say Christian goes over with Luchasaurus turning on Jungle Boy.
Okay.
And helping Christian.
Okay.
All right, so next we have the 37-0 Jade Cargill, TV champ, who is going into her 38th match tonight, and she is going against Athena, and Smart Money is on Athena. I think Athena is going to finally end the streak. I think if we keep the streak going with Jade, I don't know where else we go, unless we have a premiering women's athlete for the women's division tonight. I don't see Jade holding on to this belt much longer. If we do have somebody coming, if we shock the world and Sasha Banks was to come out, I think the only way we keep the belt on Jade is if we have another contender starting tonight. If not, it's time. End that streak, baby. Let Athena be one to take it on home.
Cheats, I know you're chomping at the bit, so let me just pour
Just
a
because
little
I
more.
strongly disagree.
That's fine.
My toy is my choice.
Let me give you another little bit to go on. I'm going to go and agree with Megan. I don't necessarily think it's going to happen, but I think it wouldn't be a bad call at one point. She has to drop the title at some point. Is she going to be, if she's not going to be Goldberg and become this TBS and world champion, they don't need to do that. They don't need to do that. She is just as established if she loses tonight and goes right into the main event picture with whoever comes out on top tonight. I think storyline wise and just it'd be okay to have Athena maybe just with a cheap roll up, something doesn't have to overpower, doesn't even need to pin her clean, but just with a roll up.
This is insane. This is
it's time. Well, Cheats, go for it. Tell us why we're wrong. We're wrong.
No, because it's gonna be Jade. I just saw, I think for the first time in a long time, Kiera Hogan and Red Velvet back.
Oh, Red Velvet's back.
Doing some videos like they always do. Love to see the baddies. My point is, I don't think, as great as the run has been, 37 or whatever, like 37 is not a cool number. Like that's not even a build up. It's not like 50.
Well, for the record, Mike Tyson went 37-0 before he lost his first fight at 38.
Oh, I like that.
That has nothing to do with it.
This is the Buster Douglas match.
This has nothing to do with this. We need 50-0. We need like 85, 100. And I love Athena. I think she's fantastic. I think she's great. She cut a hell of a promo the other day that I thought was really fantastic because Jade's a great talker, and Athena gave it, like, she really gave the professional promo. Just like, yeah, we're gonna, like, it was about as good a back and forth that I've seen with a Jade Cargill type situation. However, the reason I think that it's going to continue, and it should continue, is because there's no reason for it to end. It's the best thing that AEW has going in their entire women's division. She's got to be invincible. She has to continue to be invincible. And until we really figure out a real play, like a champion for champion, or like I said, a 50 or 100-0 type thing with a challenger that we know like is going to shock, like a shocking surprise, show up and then like get the pin. There's no reason for this to end now. And if it does, shame on AEW. Jade Cargill.
I do think if they're going to end it, there could be a bigger build. I think they've done a good build to Athena. But again, like I said, I think that if Jade does go over tonight, we've got to go with a premiering.
It was going to be Statlander. It was going to be Statlander in my mind.
So I think it would have been Stat to take her, but Stat is hurt. She's out for at least 6 months. So we shall see.
Let me just say this one last thing. I know.
We have a half hour left, though, and we have over half the show left to go. So throw it in there quick, Elliot.
Long. Just real quick, Mark. Think about that 50-0 or 75-0 or 100-0, those numbers you were throwing out. They don't do house shows. Jade doesn't wrestle every week. To get to even 50-0 would be months from now, unless they're going to ramp her up.
Let's go.
I don't think that helps anybody, including
the world needs more Jade.
Well, no argument there. Let's move on.
All right, let's move on. So next we have the Daniel Garcia on a pole match, which is Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho. I think Danielson goes over. I think Daniel Garcia is involved somehow because we've already announced the Daniel Garcia-Wheeler Yuta match for the Pure Championship next Wednesday. I think that is not only the Pure Championship, but the place in BCC match for Daniel Garcia. So I think logically he has to be a part of this match tonight. I think Danielson has to go over Jericho. And I think we're going to be seeing Daniel Garcia lobby for his spot in BCC. But what do you guys think? Somebody's got to go against me.
Well, it's not going to be me in this particular example because I'm kind of in agreement with you. I think Garcia's future is with BCC, either in addition to or in place of Yuta, and that might get settled the following week. But I just think it makes the most sense to have Danielson. And Jericho's playing a perfect heel at the moment. And when you have these sort of situations, especially with a third person involved, you got to let the face go over. And Danielson is going to stretch him, bend him. Jericho is going to look so good, but will go down and defeat. Danielson wins.
Jericho's getting broken open. Cheats, what are your thoughts on this one?
Same. I agree with everyone. Danielson goes over. Jericho does a good match like he always does, but he's not going to win.
Yeah, we are agreeing so much tonight, and I love it. All right, so let's move it right along. We have the AEW World Tag Team Championship up for grabs between Swerve and Our Glory, and everybody loves the Acclaimed. Who do you guys have for this one? Any thoughts?
Cheats?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Swerve and Our Glory again. They're just bigger stars in the Acclaim, unfortunately. I think it'd be a nice story for Acclaim to grab the titles and kind of be one of the longer term AEW like tag teams that ultimately get a belt and go over. But I don't think they will. I think Keith Lee and Swerve are too big, even with some internal conflict and maybe some internal miscommunication in the match. I think they still win, and then they'll continue their storylines.
Well, I am going to disagree and say you guys strike while the scissor is hot, and I think they're gonna put the belts on them tonight. Probably not for a very long run. I can see Swerve and Our Glory even reclaiming it on invoking a rematch clause, but I think you capitalize on the popularity of their shirt, their scissor, Billy Gunn. There'll be another great rap tonight, but I think they're actually going to put the belts on them.
So I am okay with either way happening. I do think, however, if we're going to get Swerve and Keith Lee losing the titles, my concern would be before they got the titles, there was the whole play up of whether or not Swerve was going to turn on Keith Lee. I don't know if we've had enough, in the same way that I don't know if we've had enough of a build up to lose Jade. I don't know if we've had enough of a build up for that storyline to take back off. I think if we're going to see them drop the titles, I would like to see a little bit more tension between them, and I would like to see them dropping the titles with a Swerve turn, and then they go into a program fighting each other. And I don't think we've gotten that laid down yet. While I would love to see the Acclaim go over, I don't think losing here hurts them. I think they're so over right now that if they do eat the pin on this one, especially if there's some sort of like ass boys, run in or ass boys interference, I think that makes sense. And if we do see Swerve and Our Glory lose their titles tonight, I do think it has to be a hard turn from Swerve on Keith Lee in order for it to make sense, because they were building that story before they got the titles. The last match before they got the titles, when they both were in that double ring match at the Blood and Guts, we almost saw the turn. So that was the last match that either one of them took place in. That wasn't their title run. So unless we have a massive turn tonight, I think that Swerve and Our Glory holds the belt, and we have to get a little bit more time to build up that tension. So, all right, next up we have our Casino Ladder match, which I have a fun idea for this one too. So let's go with you guys first. We have Claudio Castagnoli versus Wheeler Yuta versus Penta El Cero Mera versus Rey Fenix versus Roosh versus Andrade El Idolo versus Dante Martin versus the Joker. Casino Ladder match. So two things here. Who do you think is the Joker, and who do you think ultimately is our winner of the Casino Ladder match? Remembering that they then have a chance at the title. So who do you guys got? Who's your Joker, and who's getting the final climb up that ladder to get the golden ring?
I'll go first. Sure. Well, on this Joker, I've gone back and forth. There were lots of names who were in my head, some names which would be obvious to some people who they maybe want to see make a huge return. And I think it'll be a huge return tonight, but it won't be that return right there. I think Samoa Joe is going to be the Joker. He has been rumored to be coming back, and I think he'll make his presence felt tonight as the Joker with the other guys you have in there, Andrade and the Lucha Brothers. Yeah, another big hoss like that going in there and wrecking shop would work, because if and when MJ returns, it'll be all eyes on him. I think you have too many other guys in the ring to have then a 10, 15-minute match with MJF. Samoa Joe, on the other hand, works fine for him. As far as a winner goes, I don't have a favorite, so I'm actually going to kind of go out on a limb a little bit, and I'm going to say Roosh wins this.
Okay. Cheats, your thoughts on the Joker, and then who is our final winner?
I really have no clue. I have no clue who the Joker is going to be. I don't know, and I would have really liked. I can tell you who I would have liked it to be, but I think all of the reports indicate, if we believe anything that the reporters in the dirt sheet say, that it will not be Will Ospreay. I would love for it to be even somebody, I don't know. I have no clue, so I don't have a good answer. I like the Samoa Joe answer because I did read reports that whatever movie he was filming is over and he is set to return. In my mind, I was kind of hoping that would make a more of a Ring of Honor push, but we'll see. So I'll just piggyback with Elliot and say Samoa Joe comes back, but I actually am going to go with Rey Fenix winning. They had, he's starting to do this slow attitude change, and he's starting to get some wins on television. He got a win on television the other night with his quote unquote attitude change, and I really liked it. So maybe it's a Rey Fenix type thing. Maybe he ultimately teams up with Andrade and Roosh. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. But it should be a fun match.
So my Joker prediction, if you look at the rest of that lineup, everybody has somebody that is either in another trios with them or somebody that they tag with on the regular. Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, they're BCC. Penta and Rey Fenix, we know that they are from Death Triangle, and they're also the much beloved luchador team that we have seen amazing things out of. Roosh and Andrade El Idolo, they are always together. They are La Faction Ingovernable. I don't know how to say it. Ungovernable faction. Those are our boys there. Dante Martin also has a tag team member that could be in this match with him that's been out for a while. So my call for Joker is Darius. Now, my call for winner of this match is just going to be a pipe dream, and I'm going to say Andrade El Idolo, and that means we'll get to see
I'd love that. I'd love that.
So, let's see what happens. We got to crank through these last ones. We got 20 minutes left. We have our fatal four-way for the interim AEW Women's World Champion. So that is Toni Storm, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, Jamie Hayter, and Hikaru Shida. Who do you guys got for taking that and being our new interim champ until Rosa gets back?
Good cheats.
I'm going to go with, I think the crowd and the heart and everybody says Toni Storm, but I'm going to go with Britt Baker getting it back and then kind of building up like a more of a heel Britt Baker type thing. Jamie Hayter could sneak in there and get the win. The crowd is, I think, starting to slowly but surely become a Jamie Hayter crowd. But right now, and I'm still not there yet on the whole, like, they might have the turn, but better safe than sorry with the women's division right now, and you're not in safer hands than the DMD. So I'm going to go DMD, start to build up some hillish heat, and, try to make it interesting.
All right, I'll go next, Elliot,
yeah,
and you can round us out.
Please.
So Tony Khan said that tonight is a reset for the women's division. This lady has been in Sports Illustrated. She has been in a lot of other mainstream media this week. So I am going to go with Holy Shida. I think Shida takes the title, and just from what I'm seeing outside of AEW, it's nothing within, because within I think you're totally right to think Tony Storm, Britt Baker, or even Hayter more than Sheeta. But just what I'm seeing for the press outside, Tony likes to get his champions into the mainstream feed. Sheeta had a great piece on Sports Illustrated this week, so I'm going to go with Sheeta. Elliot, who you got for match?
Well, Megan, I'm really glad you went first because I didn't want to spoil the way you just introduced that. But the SI article also dropped that into my mind too, and thought that's how Tony's introducing this reset nationally to folks outside the wrestling industry. I also think Sheeta is going to shock the world and win the title tonight. But Cheats, I love the way you're thinking. I don't have enough faith in TK to make all the right calls with the women's division yet, but if anyone's in his ear, Serena or Madison Rain, I think they would advise him that of those two, either one would work. So seeing the results of what's happened with Sheeta last week in the press, Megan, that's why I'm with you as well.
All right, so we've got 2 more matches to talk about. We got 15 minutes left to do it, and I think we're going to need every second. First, we have our inaugural AEW World Trios Championship facing the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. We have the Dark Order late edition of Hangman Adam Page due to an injury for Preston Vance and Evil Uno. I am going to go with the Dark Order on this one. I know that Smart Money is on the Elite. They held. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go with my smart call instead of my fantasy book call. I'm gonna go with the Elite because they held off on having this tournament until Kenny Omega came back. So unless we get a Will Ospreay run in to cost Kenny the title, I think it's got to be the Elite. I would love to go with the Dark Order though.
I'm gonna go with the Dark Order only because we know how AEW. Sometimes they do executive VP booking and sometimes they do executive VP anti-booking. So putting them in the championship is in the final rounds is one thing, but I'm going to go with the Dark Order only because the Bucks and Kenny having the belts, as great as I think it would be as far as like storytelling, I think that there's still some things that they'd leave on the table if they took them tonight, as opposed to giving the Dark Order with Adam and Hangman. It's the Dark Order team now with Hangman Page and Johnny Hungy. It's a fun team. So yeah,
it's a good team.
I'm gonna give and it's their way of being like, hey, we're in the main event, but we're not like in the main event. We're not the champions. So I'm gonna give it to the Dark Order. I will say overall, I loved the Trios tournament. I thought it was phenomenal. I don't like how it played out. I would love to see Will and Aussie Open. I would love to see the House of Black. Like the way that it kind of played out, I'd have loved to see some other teams besides these two in the finals. But I actually love the matches it produced. It was some best friends in Orange Cassidy. They had some really great matches.
Yeah. There is part of me that thinks that the Bucks and Omega created AEW just so they could have a trios championship for the three of them. But I think to Mark's point, ultimately, if it's and I'm going to coin a phrase from another company, what's best for business is for Dark Order to get a victory, I believe. Let them have that inaugural trios run.
I think so too.
Even if it's short, the Hangman thing may have been a plan all along, and who knows how that. But Hangman certainly needs a little bit of a rise elevation already after losing the world title. So putting a strap on him and having him out there more regularly to defend it would be nothing but a good thing. I think it could be a fluke win. Somebody falls backwards on top of an unconscious Jackson brother. I don't think it will be as clean as they expect with some big finishing move or the buckshot lariat. But yeah, I think Dark Order is going to actually walk away with this to everyone's surprise. And I'm not saying the Bucks are growing on me, but if they do this, I will at least feel like they've made some better decisions as of late that aren't just totally self-serving. So,
yeah, I'll tell you what this is. This is Private Party beating the Bucks in the Tag Team Championship tournament in round 1. That's what this is in my mind.
That was like a huge shock to everybody, and it was a good like show of putting somebody over. I also think like we can't. I know Will Ospreay has said I'm done for now, whatever. I don't think we can count him out. There was some weird shit going on with Don Callis, where Don Callis was being really kind to Will Ospreay, and it's not a change in Don Callis' attitude because we saw him, last week come in and talk to Hangman and basically hit on him. So it's not like Don Callis went away for Kenny's injury and has turned into a really nice guy. He's still old shitbag Don Callis, but we, for some reason, saw him be very kind to Will Ospreay and was, even on commentary, was hesitant to say that Will Ospreay was not the next Kenny Omega or was not better than Kenny Omega. So I would be very interested to see something with Ospreay. He has definitely got my attention, and he has my respect as of right now. I know he said some dumb shit in the past, but dude can wrestle. And what we have seen out of him in this AEW Forbidden Door run has been just phenomenal.
Megan, you picked Dark Order first and then went back on it. You sure you don't want to join us and make it all three of us going for Dark Order?
I guess we're all going to Dark Order.
Final answer?
Let's go Dark Order, but my caveat is that there has to be some sort of Will Ospreay angle for it to make sense.
That's fair.
Because I think on paper, you still have to give it to the elite if we're talking about who's quote unquote, better wrestlers with the company. But we can all go Dark Order. All right, so finally we have what has turned into the most must-see match of the year, maybe for AEW, is the rematch
Is it because I already saw it? I saw it on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I saw it, and CM Punk got
I don't think it's I don't think it's the most.
I mean, I think it's must-match because people are like, what are you going to do now, right? Like, how are you going to? Is CM Punk going to just get mopped up again real quick? Is he going to win? I think you might see a CM Punk get booed if he wins tonight, even though he's in Chicago. I think everybody knows he just is hurt, quote unquote. It makes Jon Moxley look like shit if you take it off Mox at this point. So I'm going to go hard and fast with Mox has to hold this. If CM Punk wins, I think he has to completely turn heel and do some cheating to get the win, a la Kenny taking the belt off Mox the first time. Because even if you think back to Kenny Omega, who is our considered biggest star of AEW, couldn't beat Mox clean for the title. He had to hit him with the belt. So I don't know.
I'd also argue that Kenny Omega is the biggest star in AEW. I would not say that.
Oh, absolutely. Right? But if you set up his title reign with the only way he got it off of Mox was hitting him with the belt that Don Callis provided. Sure. Then the story is, Mox is this unbeatable bout machine. So I don't know where we're going tonight. It's hard for me to make a prediction, but I do say if Mox doesn't win, we riot. So.
Elliot?
Cheats, I want you to have the last word on this. So I'm going to say I'm pretty torn. I've sort of created a storyline in my head for both outcomes. Like I think a lot of us have. The Punk winning outcome, I don't think this is a celebration in Chicago because of the way things have played out the last few weeks. Not sure if he's booed unless he turns on the fans. I mean, if he grabs that mic after a win and tells everyone to shut up your cheering, because a few weeks ago I heard kind of like what I had said before, that if he's going to cut a promo on his home crowd saying you act all behind me, but when I was out hurt and I came back and say, hurt myself again, lost to Mox, you guys turned on me online. That'd be the angle. And if he's going to do it, he might as well do it in front of his home crowd to generate the real heat. That would result in a Punk victory. To everything Megan said, is the summer of Mox shouldn't end this way. So while I can't believe Punk, who a year ago we expected to win the title in grand fashion, carry it forever, circumstances don't always work like that. But Jon Moxley, in Punk's absence, established himself as the number one star on the planet, right there with Roman Reigns, in my opinion. So I want to see Mox keep that title. I think at some point, I'm going back now on my point from a few weeks ago. I don't see with a stacked show like this, with all this stuff going on, where MJF really fits in.
Oh, that's going to be my last question. So don't add it unless you have
Okay,
it.
I won't add it then. I'll just say we'll talk about MJF in a second. I will say I want Mox going over as well.
Okay, Cheats, Mox or Punk?
So I think given everything that's taken place, and I don't know what happened, I don't know why it happened. I do not like the handling of this main event match. I think, again, this was 2 weeks ago or a week ago. We're talking about this being the biggest match with the biggest stars in the history of AEW. And whatever they did for whatever reason on that Wednesday Night Dynamite to squash Punk the way that he did, I think really does less. It did not, to me, did not hype in the anticipation for this match. What it did was it kind of buried it a little bit, not completely. You know, he came back and did the whole "We Are Chicago, I'm in the crowd, sign the contract" promo, whatever. I'm at the point now where if Punk doesn't win the belt, he's done. Like, he should freaking retire and not, because he has to go after getting squashed. He has to go over. And again, I'm with you in the sense that I don't think he has to go over as a face. I think there is going to be maybe some heelish shenanigans, some win at any cost, some turn on the crowd. I don't care. But if he loses after getting squashed on Wednesday, then gives a valiant effort and loses tonight, it's over for that dude. And he's the biggest star the company has in regards to overall stardom. Overall stardom. Jon Moxley is the best worker, best wrestler, probably the biggest wrestling star they have right now who's at the top of his game. CM Punk's still a bigger star. So my point is, I'm talking about like overall. If I asked my, random 8-year-old kid who doesn't watch wrestling, has he heard of Jon Moxley or CM Punk? More than likely, CM Punk's name comes up. So, with all that said, I think Punk has to get the belt. He has to go over. It's going to be ugly. It might be. I mean, I hope it's not like the WCW trash in the ring after the event. But I do think that it happens, and I know Megan's teasing this up, but it may happen with a little bit of assistance from somebody that Megan's going to name soon.
All right, so that's our last. We're getting close. We've got 4 minutes until our hard out. So give me the last prediction of the night. Does MJF show? Yes or no?
Cheats just showed his hand by saying yes. Am I correct?
No, I'm saying there's a possibility. That's a possibility. Smart money to me still says he's not back yet. But also, I'm of the rare belief that like the contract heat is still like real. Like I'm like in the minority that believes that MJF's contract stuff is still a problem, like a real problem.
Okay, so you're saying
I'm saying he's out. He's still not back yet. He hasn't worked it out yet.
I think this when you want your biggest moments to happen at the biggest shows, so it does make a lot of sense here. However, I think they're actually now holding this and for their return to Long Island in a few weeks. I guess at the end of September. Mm-hmm. So I think that might be where it actually goes down now. As far as who, I'm not sure yet where he gets involved. If especially if it makes me think maybe Punk is going to win tonight if they're planning on bringing MJF back out in Long Island, where I think you have to, for a lot of the same reasons Punk came out in Chicago last year.
What's first? The Queens U.S. Open Grand Slam shows or the Long Island shows? What comes
whichever one, the Queen. It can be the Queen show. It doesn't have to be the Long Island show.
I think the Open Grand Slam Open.
Yeah, the Grand Slam shows. I think goes first.
I think it happens even though he loves when he was there last time he trashed. I think he needs that crowd that is Long Island adjacent. So maybe when he does go back to Long Island, he's already back. After making his big debut. So yeah, maybe that show at the Arthur Ashe is, I think, when MJF makes his return. So I'm saying also No, I don't think it's needed at the end of this. The crowd's going to be the crowds at home and there in Chicago are going to be
We're
kind
gonna
of
be asleep.
so tired at the end of it that it might not have the intended
We're
effect.
passed out drinking Red Bulls, trying to stay awake.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm also going no, not tonight.
I'm a kind of I hate this because I feel like it's a cop out, but I'm a maybe. I'm more certain than ever that Stokely is building up the MJF faction after he came out to Morrissey the other day.
Love
If
that.
you remember, Morrissey was one of the heavies that was brought in by MJF for Wardlow to have to get through to get to MJF. That's the last time we saw William Morrissey on our TV screens. So I'm a maybe on MJF. I do agree the show is already very stacked. It also may bury a lot of other leads, right? Like whenever MJF does come back, it's going to suck out all the air in the room. So if it happens tonight, I'll be happy to see it. Be happy to see the salt of the earth one more time. If it doesn't, I'm also okay with that. And I would love to see him return, either in Arthur Ashe or in Long Island. I think both of those are good options. But I will say, one way or another, my money is staying on the fact that Stokely is in the process of building some sort of faction for MJF. Whether they all leave and go to ROH or have a civil war with the main roster, I don't know what's going down. But Stokely is working on MJF's behalf, and I will carry that to the grave until we see it pan out.
I like it.
All right, gentlemen. Well, we are hitting right at 6:30, the time we said we would be done, so all of us can get our popcorn and snacks and wings and pizza and whatever else we need to get ready for this marathon of a pay-per-view. Any last thoughts, gentlemen? Any last predictions you want to throw out there of something that's maybe the wild card idea? We're going to see somebody wild as somebody else. Give me one last prediction for the night.
No, I like the predictions, but I also got questions in regards to predictions and match of the night. What's going to be the match of the night?
For me, I think it's going to be Ricky Starks and Will Hobbs. That for me is probably going to be match of the night. It's the one I think it is the one that I'm most looking forward to, just because the whole Punk Mox thing has kind of left a funky taste in my mouth, and I'm preparing to be really pissed off later. So I'm going to say Starks and Hobbs early in the show gives me a good vibe to ride the rest of this 5 hours out.
I think match of the night could very well be Jade and Athena. I think they're going to tear it down.
I'm going to go anytime you put Rey Fenix, Andrade, Rouge, Dante Martin in the same match, I'm going to say that's going to be the match of the night. Casino Battle Royal.
Bam.
Right on. I just want to say I'm sure all three of us will be commenting tonight on Twitter as we watch. So for those out there, WCWF Pod on Twitter, Wrestling Chat with Friends on YouTube to catch this show and all of our shows. But follow us on Twitter tonight, WCWF Pod, where we'll be talking about All Out.
Awesome.
WCWF Pod on Twitter. Yeah, definitely check in on us. We are super happy to be watching this match and can't wait to get together next Thursday to talk about all the craziness of this pay-per-view, as well as the following Dynamite, which you know is sure to be spicy.
The Joker's going to be Danhausen calling it.
We didn't have any Danhausen appearances. Yeah.
I think Danhausen comes out early in the pre-show, and maybe he comes out rocking with Action Bronson or something. But I see him being involved somewhere, but not in a major way. But I mean, he's Hook's homie, so maybe he'll come out with Hook.
And shout out to the Chicago AEW live pre-shows, which was a Matt Caster performance in RJ City live. Danhausen was doing something. It was this really cool thing outside. It was like college game day of all out.
Absolutely, and I cannot wait to. I'm really looking forward to seeing some footage of that. I think RJ was recording some of his stage shows, so definitely looking forward to that. I think we have our hands full of some really good wrestling tonight.
FanFest this weekend also debuted the next 5 or 6 series of Jazzware Unrivaled and Unmatched toys for AEW.
I saw that. Yeah.
And pretty much everybody else is going to get a toy over the next few months, and it's going to be
hold on, did Chucky T? Sexy Chucky T get bounced? Did you guys see this?
I saw it, and if people don't stop shitting on Chuck E. T, they don't appreciate Chuck E. T for the magic that he is, he will take his talents elsewhere. I
I
guarantee
feel
it.
like if you give Trent Beretta a action figure, you got to give Chuck E. T one. I don't separate them. So
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
And I think they did our boy Chuck E. T dirty, but that's just my opinion.
I'm just happy that all ego at Ethan Page is getting his figure finally after
Oh God, you know
months of talking about it.
So we'll see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it ain't over till the ref counts on the mat. So Elliot, count us out for me.
Got it. 1, 2, 3. Ring that